Hey, greetings class. My name is Professor Schmeling. I am your INT1110 instructor and I'll be instructing PC hardware and software. I wanted to talk to you about lesson one and how things work in lesson one. So what I have here is I have the course room open, um, and what you'll do is to access your book, you simply click on your book. It should link to the Mind Tap page. Now, if you get a blank screen like this, that's common. You have to click on something up here, like your home, which will put you into the full book. And you also have these tabs on the side that can also help you. Like if you were only in lesson one and you want to go to the full book, you click on the full book. So what we've done here is we've just clicked on the home tab. We're going to go back. We're going to close this out. We're going to launch it again because what I want to do is talk about lesson one. So lesson one's talking about computer parts and working on a computer. You have this lesson one resource tab, which is going to pull up reading from chapter 1 and 2. Again, if you don't see anything that comes up, you could simply click on the home and it should populate. We're going to go to lesson one, and you have lesson one and chapter 2 reading, chapter 1 and chapter 2 reading. So when you're supposed to read your lessons, you just simply read the chapters, chapter 1 and chapter 2. And you just click on it, and those items will come up. So that's your book in a nutshell. You should have access to this book the whole time, and it should already be linked in your class. Now for the discussions, you get most of that information from the reading, right? It just tells you how to or what you should answer. You should pull that from your reading. And in the instructor announcements, there is some information on how those discussions should be set up. So if we go up here to our instructor announcements, we have what's called a lesson one deliverable. In that deliverable, it goes over the items for lesson one. This is probably the most important thing for lesson one that you can go to. But you also have all these discussion grading videos and rubrics and how to paraphrase, and talks about plagiarism, some due dates. So you could simply go to those items to be able to review what is necessary for a discussion. But the main thing I wanted to talk about here is I wanted to talk about those assignments, right? So we're going to go to topic one, and we're going to go to the lab sim. So we're going to do this from the home page in the course. So let's go back to the home page, and you'll see some test out items, right? Test out is a great web page. It actually does a great simulation for computers. And this one is going to simulate some hardware. So we're going to go ahead and launch that. It should launch in another page, or it could open the same page, which is what it did right here. We're going to scroll down to the bottom. I'm having a little problem scrolling, so I'm just going to maximize and minimize here. And we're just going to launch test out. So when we launch it, it launches our test out simulation. It does require some flash for this to work. I would not like to submit my score. So it does require some flash. If you have a problem, you could try to change browsers, right? Instead of Internet Explorer, you can use Edge. You can use Chrome if you have Chrome. I tend to use Internet Explorer, but you can try to use other things if you're having problems with starting the lab. You can also contact support, the help desk for test out, which that will also be in the instructor announcements. So we're going to start the lab. So once the lab starts, we'll just continue going on and on here until that tab is completed. So this is the computer. I've already took some cables and mounted it, right? So to do that, what I did was, here's the desktop, here's the cable. I flipped it to the back. I drug the cable to where it needed to go. right? And then I connected it with the side. So let's do an example. This is a DVI connection. We're going to drag it to our DVI port. So now we've connected that. So with our monitor, right, we also want to connect our monitor to our DVI cable, right? So let's go to the back. We're going to take that and connect it to the DVI port. Right, so now what I've done is I've connected this DVI port to the monitor DVI port. Right, so now we can continue on with cables, or we can go back to the shelf. We could go front, back. We could switch views on this. So I think that's just simply to go back and put the monitor on the shelf. Oh, I can't move the monitor because I've connected that DVI cable, but I don't have power to it, right? So probably need to connect the power to the monitor, right? So we want to use this for the one side, right? But I need to plug it in, so I need to put this to the other side. So now I've plugged in my monitor. That's basically all you're going to do with test out here. It's great application. You could control how you see things. If it's not clear to you, you can minimize it. You could switch your views by just simply clicking on the item that you want to work in. So if we want to work in the keyboard now, where you're working on the keyboard, we want to plug it in with the cable, right? So once we've clicked on the keyboard, we should have some things on the shelf, right? Or so we can get some details about the keyboard and what connector we're going to use. And you follow these tasks along here, right? So it's just going to tell you what you're supposed to do. Okay? So once you're done, right, you're going to click the done button up here in the upper right, right? So this is the power supply. It's partially connected, right? So we went here, we could turn on, turn off, right? I can make that bigger if it's not big enough for me to see. So that's the test out portion. Go back to the course room, and what we have here in our course room, we're going to go back to the home of our course room. And then we have a test out project that's required. And it's going to be similar to doing some of these items, right? So this is kind of training you up to get to here, where you do your project and you're actually setting up a computer in the same manner that you did this simulation here. And then finally, you have your assessment. Your assessment will be done in the Moodle classroom. You have 1/10 allowed. You have 1 hour. You can't go back. I mean, here's the instructions to that test. Just make sure you take good notes during the week when using your simulation and reading the required material, and you shouldn't have any problem with the assessment. Okay, that's all, folks. Good luck to you.